Welcome to Yorkshire Entrepreneur, a new podcast where we talk to special guests about entrepreneurship in God's own county. We'll be discussing all things business, sharing success stories and the struggles to get there, as well as grabbing top tips from business support experts. In this episode, I chat with Claire Daniels, CEO of Trio Media. We talk about all things digital marketing, the 4-day work week, the rapid growth of Trio, and what the future holds. Hello and welcome to Yorkshire Entrepreneur. I'm really excited today as we've got a fantastic guest in the studio. It is Claire Daniels and she's the CEO of Trio Media. Now, I'm going to come straight to you, Claire, and say thank you so much for coming on the show.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to find out so much about you. I mean, I already know quite a lot about you, don't I? But I want you to tell us all about Trio Media, all about your business, your growth, everything. But let's go right back to the beginning. If you could introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your business, but mainly about your background and how you started.
Of course. So depending how far back you want to go, I actually studied marketing management at uni. So my business, Trio, is a digital marketing agency. So I kind of always knew I wanted to get into marketing. I was always quite creative, but also commercially minded and felt that brought the blend of the two together. Mm-hmm. So obviously started out with a career in marketing, did a lot of work client side and built my way up. So in our world, there's either agency or client, you know, you're working for the brand or you're working within an agency, kind of outsourcing the marketing work. And so I had built my way up within brands and I had actually worked a lot in the tech sector, up to head of marketing in a big tech company in Leeds. And so I was looking after their strategic marketing approach, helping them with their ultimate sale and kind of building shareholder value. Went through a management buyout whilst I was there. And so really looking at the positioning and what we did at the organisation. And I had always had a dream of having my own agency, and there's a bit of a funny story of how we go about getting there that I'll get into. But I certainly think that having that client side experience and also bringing the strategic marketing approach to Trio has allowed us to really set ourselves apart from other agencies and has been a real advantage. And certainly when I sit in front of other people and I say, well, I've sat your side of the table, you know, I've managed agencies, so I know the challenges and this is how we do things differently, I think is really beneficial. So do you want me to dive into the story of kind of Trio coming about?
Yeah, amazing. We want to hear all about it. And I think our relationship going back, how we met is that for Giant Leap, we asked you to create our website, of which you did a fantastic job. And then over the last 4 or 5 years, I guess, maybe 4 years, before lockdown, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
So I've sort of watched your journey, and that's how I feel like we know each other even better. We see you on LinkedIn a lot. You're brilliant at posting on there. And so I thought, I've got to get Claire on our podcast because I think what you can offer to other businesses, similar businesses, advice and inspiration, really. So, how did you get into Trio? How did that start?
Yeah, so a bit of an unconventional story. And kind of the warts and all version, but a whistle-stop tour of it. So I mentioned I was in this strategic marketing role in a tech company, and actually my brother passed away. So I quit my job. I just couldn't mentally deal with it and quit my job with nothing to go to and just needed some time out of work to decide what I was going to do. And at the time, my sister-in-law was actually setting up Trio Media with some friends of hers. And she then quickly fell pregnant after setting up the business. I said, look, whilst I'm out of work, why don't I help you with the company? I'll kind of fill your boots whilst you're not there. So helped with the business, stayed involved to a point where once I felt they didn't need me anymore and I left, it turned out they did need me. So wanted to bring me back in. So I actually took over. So the business wasn't really performing at that time. So I took on 50% shares for nothing. And one of the directors left, and then I went 50-50 with my sister-in-law.
Right.
And she had another baby and more time out, and I just felt that I could take the business in a direction that maybe we weren't as aligned with anymore. So I actually had a discussion with her about whether I could buy her out, which we agreed to. And so since 2020, I think it was around July. Bear in mind, this is COVID's just hit.
Yes,
I'm investing mine and my husband's savings that we've saved through renovating houses and stuff like that, saying to my husband, look, can we take a punt? And this is his sister. So it's not the wife of my brother who passed away. I think that would be a bit
difficult.
Yes, but can we do this? And took on the business and haven't looked back. So I had managed to turn it around, pay off the kind of previous debt, get us in a better position, and then from there, year on year, and we've just had another financial year end. So on average now, over the past 3 years, we've grown by 45% revenue-wise year on year. And
Amazing.
I think it was probably just after that time, actually, that we were speaking to you when I picture which office we were in and stuff like that. So I think it was 2020 when we started
maybe
working.
It was during
with you guys.
I think it was 2020. You're right.
Yeah.
So how's that relationship now? Fine.
Absolutely
Your
fine.
sister-in-law.
Yes.
That's good to know.
Obviously,
she's got her children, and
she has. And she's got the life she wanted. And so do I. And I think it's that.
Does she still work in digital marketing?
She does, but she works for herself.
Yeah.
So I think she kind of realised she didn't have the aspirations of running a business and having employees and having to kind of have that structure of being there for other people. Yeah. She needed something that gave her a lot more freedom. So it worked out for the best for everyone, genuinely. Yeah. Obviously, it was difficult at the time. But
like lots of things in business,
exactly.
And if you're dealing with that right from the offset, you know how to manage it and how to handle it.
And the one thing that obviously losing a loved one close to you is awful, but it builds resilience, and I think that's a really strong trait that leaders need to have. And there are difficult decisions you need to make and awkward conversations you need to have, but having that resilience allows you to deal with it a lot better. So I'm quite thankful for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I've seen the growth of your business over the last 4 years. It's been fantastic. What would you say sort of sets you apart maybe from other digital marketing agencies?
Yeah, so going back to that piece around the strategic element. So where the business is now is very different to where it was when I took it over, and I was so actively involved in all our accounts. So initially, if I was going to meet new clients and really talking about that strategic approach, and I was able to bring what I know, and I always put on the hat. When I meet someone, I think, I'm your marketing director now. Yeah. What do I think you should do, and what do you need? And I think that's been really beneficial for us, and that's been one of the ways that we have then set ourselves apart. And even as we've now grown and I'm stepping away from that role, we've hired a mix of people that have experience either client side or agency side that can take a strategic approach to things as well. And I also think, and what was really lovely is when we were talking just before we started recording, you made such a lovely comment about a member of my team. Yeah. And that's something that we value really strongly as well, is that customer relationships. Yeah. And my perception of other agencies is, for a lot of them, and I'm not going to put everyone in the same category, but typically they're there to deliver a service. Like, you need this, we'll deliver it for you for X price. Whereas I really say to people, we don't have an interest in that. Like, we want a relationship with you. We want to help your business grow. We want to act as an extension of your team. Yeah. And what's really nice is also a lot of that has formed from things our clients have said to us. So we maybe didn't even know that's what we were doing or that's what our proposition was until people have said, we recorded a testimonial video with a client of ours, and he goes, people keep asking me, am I going to hire a marketing team? And I say, no, I've got one. I've got Trio. Yeah. And that's couldn't be
that's
a better way.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
What it is that we're all about. Like, we want to be seen as like, we will understand your business completely and act in your best interest and act as your marketing team. So that has very much been what has made us different. And we will be leaning into that more going forward as we refine our branding and our messaging. So there's a lot of work going on currently around the Trio brand, and maybe a future brand as well, that is all aligned with this, and really giving companies what they want, of that trusted marketing team, and getting access to experts at a fraction of the cost. If they were to hire the whole team that they're going to have involved, if they were to hire those people internally, that cost would be far greater, and the risk of people leaving and everything else, versus we've got a highly engaged team, great culture, and you can hire that and have it part of your business. So that's how we position it.
And lots of different experts in your team that can cover every aspect of what a business might need for their marketing as well. And we definitely found that when you were creating our website for us, working with Colleen, she was absolutely amazing. But even now, I know we've had emails back and forth in the last week about next steps for us, and it's just easy. And it's a long-term relationship, which is the good thing about it, isn't it? That's what we try to do within our business, is make sure that we are part of the team. So within that business, we learn about their business, we understand what they need and deliver, in that aspect of it. So we get that from you, which is fantastic. You're also really forward-thinking, and that came across, I suppose, in the last couple of years when you took on the 4-day work week.
Yes.
Tell us about that, because that was all over LinkedIn, wasn't it? And everywhere. And that was all over the world.
Yeah. I was live on CNBC in the US. I was up at 11 at night, live on TV.
Amazing.
Yes, but I would like to say I am quite forward thinking, and as a leader, I am thinking about how to give my team the best life, and love what they do and love turning up to work. And so in 2022, losing track, now we're in 2024,
crazy.
I became aware of this pilot that was going to be happening in the UK of trialling a 4-day work week.
How did you hear about it?
I couldn't even tell you. Yeah. Do you know, it was really funny. So, because the pilot wasn't starting until June, but I started the year with a keyword for the year that I kind of said to the team, right, this is our word of the year. And the word was productivity. And I had run a session with the team going like, let's just think totally out the box. Everything's possible. How could we be more productive? And then, during this time, I'd seen some of the research and seen this pilot, must have been in the media somewhere, about the benefits of a 4-day week, and that actually organisations that employ that are often more efficient, they're more profitable. It was kind of selling all these points to me. And obviously for a business owner, productivity equals profitability. So that's the ultimate goal. We want to make more profit. So how do we do more with the resource we have and without our cost going up?
Which to some people sounds crazy, because you're cutting down the amount of time that you're working on it. But
I know. And so obviously the team didn't come to me and go, oh, I'll tell you what, you want us to be more productive? We'll work 4 days instead of 5. So I did take that to them and say, look, I've seen this. What do we think? Obviously, everyone's like, yeah, sounds
ecstatic.
Great. But equally, it was met with some hesitation, because some people who notoriously habitual overworkers are going, hang on a minute, if I'm going to be judged on my ability to get my job done in 4 when I can't even get it done in 5, what's that going to look like for me? And so we spent the months leading up to the pilot, kind of really assessing if it was going to work for us, what the process should be like. And I was engaged with 4-Day Week Global, who are the kind of organisation doing the pilot. So I was getting a lot of resources from them, going on webinars and workshops and stuff like that. And then eventually thought, yes, this is going to be something really good for us. And the key kind of penny drop moment for the team was we did this workshop called the Diary Detox. You can look this up. It's by a guy called Paul Holbrook. It's not really associated with the 4-day week, but his model really allows you to make the 4-day week work. And it's basically looking at, how much time you spend doing your core job versus then other areas. I won't give it all away. But then one of the areas is how much time do you think you spend wasted, you are not adding value to the business. So this could be anything like traveling to a meeting that you think could have been online, or in being in meetings that you don't think you need to be in. I think everyone suffers from this. And so we found in our organisation, on average, 20% of time was spent in that wasted zone.
Right.
So 20% is a day a week.
It's a day, yeah.
So we were like, if we solve this problem, we're not asking anyone to do any more work.
Yeah.
And that was what really shifted those mindsets for the team and the people thinking, I'm going to have to do loads more work to make it work. And going, right, let's change our culture around meetings, let's change the rules. And so we did loads of stuff. We kind of formed meetings to be more run like drop-ins rather than everyone in the whole time. We have set rules like if you get sent an invite, it doesn't have an agenda in, so you don't know what it's about, you can decline it. If you're in a meeting and you're no longer adding value or getting value, you should leave. I mean, some people are like, but seriously, so I can excuse myself from a meeting? I'm like, yes, please
and
do.
do people excuse themselves from a meeting? Really?
So there was a lot of things we changed. And
I guess in that, I could see that. Oh, actually, you don't need me for the rest of this meeting.
But it's just, do you need me anymore? Because you've done that. I'll leave you to it. I'm going to go focus on. And, I think even if that's in a client meeting, I think there's a way that actually looks quite good, because it's like, I'm going to go get on with the work you're paying me to do rather than kind of wasting time sat in a meeting for an hour being disengaged. So that worked quite well for us. And so the pilot was for 6 months. So we ran that up to the end of 2022. And then I just felt that 6 months wasn't enough time to make a decision for the business. So I then ran a further 6 month trial of our own. And we're still doing the 4-day week now. Really? So we kept it throughout 2023. It's not without its challenges for sure. But I do believe if it was easy, everyone would do it, so I'm here to take the challenge and it's...
And like you said earlier, your profits have gone up 45%.
Yeah, well, our revenue's gone up 45%. Actually, this financial year, our profit has gone up 169%.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So if we can do that on a 4-day week, this is the thing. It's like it's taking that big picture thinking, going, on the ground, sometimes it's hard and there's difficulties, there's challenges to overcome by doing it. But take a step back. Can I really justify that this isn't working for us when we're performing so well and people have a better work-life balance as well? So I think for now it's...
But just to establish, you do stay open 5 days a week. Your staff are just, it's almost like a rota or a timetable that they only work 4 days a week.
Yeah, exactly.
And do they love it?
Yeah, they do. I mean, I don't think I could take it away from them at this point, to be fair. Everyone's pretty set that they either work Monday to Thursday or Tuesday to Friday.
And they don't work longer hours on those days? They still do your 9 to 5?
So everyone kept their full salary and got to just work a day less, 8 hours less a week. And it seems to be working. And look, sometimes people work on the day off. We've kind of ended up positioning it as you're on call. Like if you really need it is a day you are being paid for. You just get the benefit and the luxury of having it off and being able to go do your own thing, get your house clean, so actually you don't have to do that on the weekend, or do your food, whatever it is. But you just make sure you're near your phone if we need you, because if it's someone's day off that week, but I could really do with knowing something from them, I may contact them, but I wouldn't do that if they were on holiday, for example. So it is slightly different. And I think we've found a good place with it now of, this is definitely a great benefit for you, but it needs to work for everyone. And if sometimes the business needs you, then we just expect that flexibility. Yeah,
there has to be some give and take there, doesn't there?
Yeah. Exactly.
Amazing. And that... I didn't realise it was that long ago, actually. So when you started it, so it was 2022 and you did 6 months, but then you've done an additional year already of doing that.
Yeah, I know, time flies.
Gosh,
but I think
really
as
does.
Well, because we inadvertently ended up being one of the faces of the 4-day week.
You really did.
I don't know how it happened, but there was a lot of media coverage more last year, so I think that's when it came to people's attention a lot more, because the pilot had ended, the survey and data results were then in, and they were then released to press of like, right, this many companies have done the 4-day week and have said it works, and you know, and it was then off the back of that came a lot of the media coverage. So
so it was when they sort of saw the results.
Yes, exactly. So I've been on every news channel. I've been into BBC Studio to be on the TV. Like I say, I was on CNBC in the US.
Incredible.
I was interviewed by someone for something on the BBC that they said was going to be translated into Arabic.
So you're just like, I'll do it, it's fine.
Yes. So this is one of my things. I just say yes to everything, and I think that's why then a lot of these opportunities came. Because I said yes to everything. I was interviewed by Jeremy Kyle.
Wow.
I was
How was that? How did that go?
It was fine. Everyone was like, "Oh, you sure you want to go up against him?" I was like, "Bring it on." I just say yes to absolutely everything, and there was only one thing I couldn't do, and it was because I was on a flight to Ibiza. And I was really trying to I was like, I land at this time. But they got someone else, and that's understandable. But yes, this can sometimes be to my detriment that I say yes to everything, but that is kind of my approach.
No, not at all. Overall, the 4-day week worked for most companies, right?
Yeah, I believe. But
did a lot of them keep it on like
96%.
you have?
96%.
Yeah. That is incredible.
And do you know what? I believe it's been really popular in the industry that we're in. So a lot of marketing agencies, they typically had a really bad reputation for kind of a lot of overworking, staff working really long hours. And I think that still is very prevalent in the industry. And then you've got the other side who are trying to totally change it. And I know a lot of other agencies who do 4-day weeks to give people that balance back. It does work. And look, there's a lot of naysayers, and I was met with a lot. I mean, I went into one client, told them about it, and I got laughed at.
Really?
Yes, and it's very much, these marketing agencies, just thinking we just spend our time doing loads of fluffy stuff and looking at pretty pictures, like that perception. But
with no idea on really how it works or runs. And it is different for every business, isn't it? Whether you can implement it. Yeah, it is really an interesting concept. So you had a lot of exposure from it. Did you get any business from it?
Well, do you know, it's so many people ask me that, but I'm like, but I was talking about the 4-day week, so we weren't really talking about our business. But what's been really nice and a knock-on effect of the saying yes to everything is now the media have come back to me and asked me, well, do you want to come talk on this marketing topic? Because we remember you from when you came to talk about the 4-day week. Thought you were great. Do you want to come on? So I went on BBC Radio and did a piece when the John Lewis Christmas ad went out. Yes. So I think over time we will start seeing more coming from that, but I couldn't really attribute any of our 45% growth, for example, to doing the media piece on the 4-day week.
Yeah. Interesting. So that came from me saying you're really forward thinking, because I loved how you just sort of encompassed all of that within your business, and it was everywhere. If I went onto LinkedIn, I would see all the updates of you being on the news or in America at whatever time. Yeah, it was amazing. And then the growth of your business. But what I also love when I see you on LinkedIn is how honest your posts are. So it's everything, isn't it? The ups and the downs as well. And I think that's really important and really relatable, especially as a business owner myself. When I'm looking and I read something and I think, oh my gosh, even they've had really bad months, and you look back on that. And do you find it easy to share that?
I can't say I find it easy, but I think it's important to do. So I would look up to kind of influencers that I might see and think, I want to know the true story behind it. So I think we're all guilty. Social media is a highlight reel. So even though everyone else chooses and filters what they want to post, when you're consuming it, you take that as that's real life, even though it's just a snapshot into... And
it's silly, isn't it? Because we all know it's not, but you still get sucked into it. And think,
exactly. So I love telling all the positive stories, and we have had loads of success, and it's a lot easier to talk about the success when there's good stuff going on. I've just been in the media, or we've just won this client, or we've just hired someone. Like that's so easy to talk about. But I became quite conscious that if I was going to be painting this picture, I needed to give the authentic side as well. And I became aware that people were following me and looking at our story. And I didn't want to paint an unrealistic picture of actually how hard it is to get to that point. So we've had amazing success. But yeah, I posted just recently that just over a year ago, we had no money. We had totally run out of money. But that can happen 1 month to the next just on someone paying late, and there's so many circumstances that add up to it. But it's going, this happens, guys. You're like, it's
this
really
is the
tough.
reality. Yeah.
And I think as well, I've not even spoken about that with my team, but they will have seen my post and they're probably going to go, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was happening at the time.
Yes.
But I think it's important to remind people the responsibility that's on the owner, the shoulders, of the owner of a business. I think it's really important to share the authentic and real side. And I've had a lot of comments from doing that. So I'll probably find it easier going forward because I think it is helpful for people to see, so I will try and keep doing that.
Yeah, definitely. And it makes everything more relatable, to other business owners, because everyone has ups and downs, and you can get sucked into this social media of everything's brilliant, and when you see the success and the growth of a business. But you've got to have those lows to appreciate those highs as well, haven't you?
Exactly. Yeah. And it goes back to that piece I was saying about resilience. There are ups and downs, and it's how you deal with them that is important. And if anyone thinks that it's just plain sailing all the way, sorry to say, but they're mistaken. But I think the problem is some people out there paint that picture, which I think it's the responsibility of the rest of us to be realistic about it.
Running a business is hard, isn't it? And I know I'm fortunate because I can run my business with my husband, so, and that's got pros and cons as well.
I can
imagine. He's filming now. But
when it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's his fault.
Exactly. Yeah. What is it, Mr.? Oh, I can't remember. Mr. Right, Mrs. Always Right. Yeah. But I think for you, because you are on your own, but you've now got this brilliant team, haven't you? And I know Colleen has been with you. Has she been with you from the beginning or very early on?
Yeah, she's been with us, coming up to 4 years now. So when I first got involved with the business but wasn't a shareholder, I basically said, look, you can get rid of everyone else because I can do what all of those people are doing and have time spare. So we stripped it back and started again, essentially. And then when I kind of came and got involved properly, started building up a team. And yes, so that was from, I think 2020. So in 2020 there was 6 of us, and there's now 19 at the start of 2024. So we have been growing, at quite a good rate since then, and I've got an amazing team. Like, genuinely love the people. We've just gone away for Christmas, took everyone away for our Christmas do, and honestly we just get on so well together. So fortunate. And what I've now been doing is building out a management structure. So we have 5 head of departments who are kind of being empowered to run the business, on the day-to-day side of things. So then I can step up a bit more, because obviously, and again, that reality of being a business owner, you were in the trenches a lot of the time, sleeves rolled up. And I heard something once, well, didn't hear it, I saw it on Instagram, and I thought, oh my God, that's so true, of someone saying, I didn't realise that I would spend so much time acting like the apprentice in my own business, because you do all the crap jobs, and I've been so guilty of that, of like, this is too bad a job that I would feel guilty giving it to someone, so I'm going to do it. Which is absurd, but it's something we all go through. And I'm trying to get better at delegating. I think I am getting better at it. And also, empowering people. It's like, well, this is a great opportunity for them, and to be able to take on that responsibility of running the business as well. So that's where we are now, kind of going into 2024 with a clear structure, management team who kind of have that faith from me of running the business. They've got their departments underneath them. And really driving.
And this has all come really from your strategic planning, like way back, hasn't it? I mean, always having that strategy in the back of your mind and knowing where you're going.
It's quite an interesting one, actually, because this year, the start of 2024, is the first time we have a proper written strategy. So we've never had it before, and I've always been in a bit of turmoil because my background is
that's what
strategy.
You're an expert in. Yes.
So I think there's pros and cons to that because I know it, so I'm comfortable with it. So we've been doing it anyway, but we haven't been at that point of like, this is our strategy. And where I've been really fortunate is having a team bought into the vision without any of us actually knowing what the vision was. Right. If we're being realistic, did we know? Whereas now, stake in the ground, this is the vision. Really, like I say, really fortunate because everyone basically got on a ship with a captain that didn't know what direction we were going in, and we could have ended up in...
but not yet. I know what you're saying.
I think people could buy into how ambitious I was, and like, this is... You're placing a good bet, because are we going to go places? Yeah. But the place we were going wasn't defined.
100% sure.
Are we packing warm clothes or cold clothes? Sun holiday or ski holiday. And I think it is really important to define that. So I've been able to kind of free up some of my time now enough to really define that and to know where we're going and get everyone bought into
and it's
that.
And it takes that time, really, doesn't it? Because it was like a new business, really, even though it was sort of existing already, but it was a new business for you. And it does take that time, and it does often grow organically in that sort of way that aligns with everybody within the business. And that's where you've got it to now. And it's exciting to watch, from the other side. It's exciting to see where you're going and maybe what the future, you've got a definite strategy in place this year. And I saw a post on LinkedIn where you said some things that we're not going to tell you about yet. So I'm excited to see what that is as well. But where do you see Trio being in the future? Where do you see it going?
The vision is to grow a multi-million-pound marketing brand. So that may or may not be Trio as we know it, which is why I'm not attributing that vision to the brand name, because I think we're very open-minded to how we could evolve, and this may or may not be part of the evolution. But I really think there's actually not that many people out there who have mega high ambitions, and I am super ambitious, and I'm just like, let's just go for it.
I love it.
Yes, we have very ambitious plans, and so the kind of how that plays out is obviously some of the stuff behind the scenes that we're not going to talk about. I much prefer to keep your plans secret and then just let people see the results, rather than a lot of people can talk a good talk and then they don't deliver.
Doesn't quite happen.
So I much prefer to go, well, watch this space, but we've got very exciting plans, and also we're planning our expansion outside of the UK as well, and what that can look like. Yes.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. Probably,
That's exciting. And we talked about we talked about when you came in about positivity is key, and I loved this when you said we're not looking back, you can only look forwards, can't you? So whatever's happened, if you've had those dips, if you've had those bad times, and I think that's so important. I'm a really positive thinker, but sometimes it's hard to get out of your head, isn't it? You know, and not focus on the little stuff or the bad things that have happened, and you've got to keep focused and keep that positivity going, haven't you?
Definitely. I think mindset is everything when it comes to running a business. And, if you focus on the bad times, you get consumed by it. And I mean, it's not the way I live my life generally. I think you always have two choices of how you react to something. And you either play the victim or you take ownership and you decide how you're going to be. And I'm not playing the victim, put it that way. So I don't like that angle. And I just think, it's what you make it. So it's really about having that positive mindset. And I mean, I think it was Dean Graziosi, who's a kind of really renowned marketeer, very, very rich man, has written a lot of books about it. And he had banned his team from ever looking at the news or anything negative going on. And they soared when other companies were failing. And I mean, I'm not saying that I'm copying that, but I've never been one for looking at the news. And also, I'm not going to go, oh, there's a recession, maybe we should start, battening down the hatches. It's just like, while things are good, we're good. Let's keep going. And, I'm really fortunate that actually I've seen a lot of marketing companies in 2023 fail. And, a lot of agencies have ceased to exist anymore. When we were hiring for this senior role, 3 out of the 5 people we shortlisted had all been made redundant. So there is a lot of negativity in the industry, but I refuse to focus on that. I'm all about just looking to the future, positive outlook. And I just do believe that when you are like that, those good things happen back to you.
What do you do to keep that positivity going? Do you do are you in like the 5, getting up at 5 a.m. and do you, reading, affirmations, anything like that? Do you practice any of that yourself?
Well, do you know what's funny? I'd always heard about manifestation and thought, oh, this is really airy fairy stuff.
Yeah.
But when I learnt about it, I was like, well, actually, something I always believed in is having goals and writing them down. And when you do that, you're likely to achieve them. And then I kind of realised, well, that's a bit of what manifestation is to a degree. Is really focusing on something. And that is where you end up. So I'm a believer in that, I would say. But I don't think there's any kind of practice I put into it. In terms of staying positive, I just think it's a mindset thing. Without sounding morbid, genuinely, I do just think, has anyone died today? And if they haven't, it's a good day. So I've been to the worst place. So and that, honestly, just resilience. I know this is now the 3rd time I'm going on about it, but I just think it's so key, because it does concern me, like younger generations, I feel, have a bit less of it. And I just think it is so key to exist in the business world. There's not many things will faze me. Like, it will take a lot for me to get angry, upset. I mean, my team, I don't think I've ever seen me angry. Like, that's just not the type of person I am. I'm not going to ever go in shouting or anything like that. That's not me. They definitely will have seen me upset, but more like happy tears, I think. But it's just surrounding yourself with good people and just having a positive mindset. I mean, I do get up at 10 to 6 in the morning and I go to the gym every morning, which
and
I
that
think
helps, doesn't it?
Yes.
Definitely. Exercise, for sure.
Just know what makes you happy and try to live a good life, and just don't, we have a choice every day about how we let things affect us and whether we choose to let that ruin our day and get us down, and how we react. Like, it's all a choice. So I choose to not let things affect me.
It's what you live your life by, but it sort of becomes a natural thing, and you exude that positivity, which is what we all need in life, isn't it? And like you say, nobody died today, we're doing good. We got through it.
Well, my favourite, I love a quote, my team know this, so I always give them little quotes, but my favourite quote that I had ever read was, so far you've survived 100% of your worst days, so you're doing great. And I just think,
amazing.
I've survived, no matter how bad it was, you got through it, so just keep getting on, And I think that's really important.
Definitely. So I wanted to ask you, before I get into my quick fire questions, any advice for business owners out there, smaller businesses, with their marketing? Like, what key advice would you be able to give them if they can only afford to do one thing or spend on something? What would you say?
I would look at it just from a bit of a bigger perspective of, the most important thing is to understand your customer. So I couldn't come here and say, the most important thing is that everyone does this on social media or this on Google, because their customer might not be there. So it's really about, who is your customer and where are they spending their time, and taking yourself to where they are. So in the business world, if that is people on LinkedIn, or if it is that people go and they're often going to search on Google or whatever it may be, or whether people might go to events, so it really comes down to understanding the customer first and foremost, and also what makes your customers tick. So we have our own little exercise that we've kind of coined, really. It's called the Top 20 Reasons exercise, and I've yet to see a business this doesn't work for gaining clarity. So it's, what are the 5 reasons your customers buy from you, and the 5 reasons they don't, and then the 5 reasons they come back, and the 5 reasons they don't. So a lot of people might talk about USPs, unique selling points. And if we said to a company, oh, well, what are your USPs? Then they're going to go, oh, well, we're a family-run business and we've been around for this long and da-da-da-da. And then it goes, okay, so tell me, the clients you currently work with, tell me the reason they decided to work with you. And I can guarantee it's none of that stuff. So that's what we want to get to the bottom of. We also want to get to the bottom of the reasons people chose not to work with you. An example I always use was a family-run business, and one of the things they said, oh, we always get that people think we're too small and they don't get how big we actually are. I said, well, in your proposal, you've not said that being a family-run business is a reason you win in business, but in your proposal and all your marketing, it's all, oh, here we are,
a family-run
business. So that's giving that perception of you being small. So it really then helps you to harness your messaging and everything from there of what you should be doing. And go, I was like, I know you think this story's lovely, cut it. Like, we're not talking about that anymore, because we need to paint this picture that you're bigger, let's get some team photos of the whole organisation and stuff like that. So you can start piecing together, the reasons people don't buy from you. You're going to create as much content about that as you are the reason they do buy, because you can probably handle those objections. Actually, these are the reasons they don't buy, but they're wrong. We just didn't communicate it well enough, or someone didn't buy because they think we're too expensive. You've got a choice. So do you want to lower your price, or do you want to go, actually, they weren't the right person for us because we know our pricing's right? So then, there's a lot you can do there. And then when you look at the reasons people come back or not, it then becomes about the actual service and delivery of what you've done, instead of your initial marketing and stuff that you were putting out there. So for anyone listening, if you want to try anything, try that. It will help you refine your messaging.
We're going to try that.
Yes. I hope it helps. I can send you some material.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're definitely going to try that one. That's really interesting. Thank you. I know I've got some quick fire questions. Let me have a look on here. Oh, they are on here somewhere. Here we are. So quick fire questions, whatever comes into your head straight away. What would you do if you weren't doing this job? So if you weren't CEO at Trio Media, what would you do?
Well, I would say, so I have a goal for after I am, after this job. Obviously, every owner kind of thinks about their exit. My ultimate life goal is to have an animal sanctuary and rescue animals. So
I love that.
Yeah, what would I do would be doing that. I think I'd also maybe like to do some coaching on the side or something. But definitely something.
I could see you coaching, because I think you would get a lot out of helping other people as well.
Yeah, I would.
I think that,
So, that and the animal sanctuary.
So you could do a bit of coaching whilst you're doing the animal sanctuary. Yes.
So this is why I need to make a lot of money, people. It's just for the animals. So that I can just save all the animals.
We
and just look
haven't
after
even
them.
talked about, because you do... You do lots of charity things, don't you? Charitable things.
I'm an ambassador for the Rainforest Trust UK, and I'm a trustee for Children's Heart Surgery Fund as well. So.
2 amazing, amazing charities. And I've seen that on LinkedIn as well. So great that you're sharing all of that and raising awareness for that as well. And soon an animal sanctuary.
Yes.
Well, not soon. You've got a lot of work to do.
I do have a lot of work to do, but that's the goal.
So what currently is the favourite part of your job?
Ooh, good question. I would say doing the strategy stuff. I have 2 camps that I think are the areas that I'm best at and I enjoy the most, and one is strategy and one is people. But I think just because I'm slightly more focused on strategy at the moment, that's where I'm getting a lot of the joy.
Yeah, and you're enjoying that, So if you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
I think just believe in yourself. I do now. Just go for it. Just do what you want to do, and you're going to get where you want to go. Yeah.
And that's sort of been the key through our talk today, really, hasn't it? Believe in yourself, positivity. Okay, here's one. What's your favourite place to eat in Yorkshire?
Oh, good question. Well, they're shutting down now. Well, actually, I was going to say Isho, which is in Leeds, but that is shutting down. But when we went to the Ivy Asia, that does tip show. So the Ivy Asia.
We haven't been there
it's
yet.
Really good.
Yes, I would really like to go, Nick. Just saying. Future goals. We kind of talked about that, didn't we, earlier? You've got major future goals, and we know what you want to do after Trio as well.
Yes.
The Animal Sanctuary. Have you got a recommended day out in Yorkshire?
Well, my favourite place to go, so I've got a dog, so me and my husband just tend to, our weekends are going out with the dog. Love Burnsall, so I would recommend on a nice day, going over to Burnsall, going for a walk and going for a swim in the river.
Wow,
yes.
That's cold.
Yeah, but it's amazing. Honestly, it's freezing cold, but you get out and you're warm. Like, we have done it in winter and it does take your breath away. But you feel warm after. But you can swim in it in the summer. You can just swim in the river. It's just so nice. Love doing that. Take a picnic, and then you could go to one of the local pubs for some food afterwards.
Oh, that sounds idyllic. If you have a dog as well, we'll have to try that. And speaking of cold water swimming, because we've got Rafi, who is live editing this as we speak, and also Max, who's on the cameras. We did some filming up in Scotland not so long ago, and they both went in the sea there. It wasn't Aberdeen, it wasn't as far up as Aberdeen, I'm not 100% sure where it was, but they went cold water swimming, open water swimming in the sea. Wow, it was blooming freezing. Meanwhile, I don't know if I should say this, Nick stayed back at the digs and had a hot bath. Hot bubble bath.
It's not for the faint-hearted. I mean, I don't claim to be.
It's meant to be so good for you, though, isn't it?
But I do it. I mean, my husband, I don't know, he has this knack of like knowing things are going to be a trend or cool before they become a thing.
Oh,
so,
really?
Like, but he will.
Has he got an ice
it.
bath?
Yeah. Well, he was like, he started getting into Wim Hof before everyone else knew about Wim Hof.
I love Wim Hof.
Started doing cold showers and got me into it. So like, I can easily have a cold shower. And again, all comes back to mindset.
Yes.
Because our natural reaction, because we've kind of learnt it, is when the shower goes cold to go, but it's like, you just tell yourself, just don't do that, just stand and breathe and be calm, and you can do that. So I can have a cold shower. I've not been practicing it recently, but if I ever go to a spa and there's a cold plunge pool, or, we have gone for walks before with no intention of going in a river and seen a river and just decided we want to get in, and we just go in our underwear, take our clothes off, get in,
There's
go
no
in
towel
our underwear,
when you get
no
out.
towel.
Oh my God.
Just get out and then just put clothes back on.
Just get on with it.
I mean, obviously you regret it after when you're walking around like that afterwards, but it's so good at the time. So I can deal with it.
But there's meant to be so many health benefits as well to it. Yeah. I really need to give it a go. I keep saying I'm going to try. Rafi's also, who's editor's also got the ice bath, outside. But I do practice the breathing, actually, the Wim Hof breathing, and that has real benefits. I think I really notice the benefits for that. But I do that most mornings.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so I do really enjoy that.
Yeah.
Okay, and one last question, because we are a video production company. Mm-hmm. What's your favourite film?
Grease.
Is it?
Yeah.
I love Grease.
I absolutely, like, without a doubt, favourite film of all time.
Grease is amazing, isn't it?
And can I just say, Grease, not Grease 2. My husband thinks Grease 2 is better than Grease.
Can you see Nick in the...
Yeah,
he loves Grease 2.
No, it's like... I just can't.
Yes, he loves Grease 2.
No.
He's introduced our 7-year-old to Grease 2. Now she loves it as well.
It's an insult, absolute insult.
Let's be honest,
Grease
it's Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
We know what you really like.
Come on, Olivia Newton-John.
Yes, absolutely gorgeous. But Grease. You probably didn't know this, but I was in the West End musical Grease.
Were you?
Yes, many moons
who did you play?
ago. I was a dancer, one of the ensemble girls.
Fine. I was a dancer in my high school production of Grease.
I did understudy Patty Simcox, who is
amazing.
the annoying cheerleader.
I know who she is.
Yeah,
when I say this is my favourite film,
yes.
I know all the songs, all the characters.
Yes. Well, I was in it for a year, and I did manage to go on for that role once.
Oh, amazing!
But I got a bit of a standing ovation when in the musical Sandy punches Patty. Yeah, and so I must have been that annoying. That when she punched me, there was a round of applause and a few people stood up, apparently.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, so I think I played it well. But yes, I also love Grease, not just because I was in it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just want to say thank you so much. It's been fantastic chatting with you.
Thank you for having me.
For sharing everything, all about your business and the growth, and there's exciting times ahead.
Of course.
Yeah, so thanks for coming on. I know we'll keep in touch anyway, and we're working together, so that'll be fantastic. Maybe you'll have to come back in a year or so and tell us a bit more about Trio, where you've gone, and, international.
Yeah, maybe the new plans will be out in the wild by then, and we can talk about them.
That would be super exciting.
Amazing.
Thanks again, Claire.
Thank you.